Hey, it's Monica B. We're going to make some kitchery together so that you know exactly what to do, what stuff looks like. I will tell you, it's not a complicated recipe, and it's also not very fussy. So if there's something that in the ingredients that you're allergic to, or that you don't like, or that you don't have, don't sweat it. If you have the majority of the ingredients, you're still going to do a-okay on the kitchery cleanse. So the first thing to know about a kitchery cleanse is our attitude, right? We're going to go into, I'm so excited to do this. I don't know about you, but I am so excited because we have each other, and I've never done this with like a gajillion other people. So, I think it's awesome. We all want to do better for our minds, our bodies, and our spirits, and kick off the new year in an amazing way and carry on with this through our life, because kitchery, once you learn how to make it once, and once you learn how the cleanse goes, you can do it for forever. And so I'm thrilled. So it all starts with our attitude about being excited, about being optimistic, not going into a cleanse going, oh God, I signed up for this thing and I gotta eat the same thing every day for every meal for like 3 days. No, that's putting the wrong energy into the cleanse. And as we know, we are made of energy. We are made of nature. We are made of energy. And altogether, this is going to set the stage for how our bodies and our minds respond to this, just like everything else in life, right? So even if we get a challenging situation or something unexpected happens, the difference of an ordeal and an adventure is basically our attitude, right? So let's have a really good, positive attitude when we're doing this. In Ayurvedic tradition, when they make kitchery, they sing. They'll do mantras, and they will put the energy in the food. They'll repeat the same mantra over and over as they make the kitchery to put the good energy in the food. So keep that in mind. I've got a playlist for you if you want to put on some tunes. I like the mellow, sort of chill tunes, because otherwise I lose my brain and I don't pay attention to the recipe. But you can put on any music that makes you feel happy. Get excited. This is your time. This is your cleanse. This is your purifying process of your body and mind. So that's first. So attitude, yay. Okay, the second thing is this is going to be, as you know, a mono diet for 3 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What happens if you get hungry? You can have more kitchery, or you can have a piece of fruit in between as a snack. You can also have some different kind of herbal teas. Ginger tea is great because it stokes digestive fire. What we're going to be doing in this, what's going to be happening to our bodies, is our body's going to be given a whole food. So the mung dal is a whole protein. You've got the basmati rice as your carbs, and you've got all of the spices that they have different qualities, and we'll get into that in day 1 of the cleanse. I'll teach you about each one of the spices and what they do for us. But just know overall, this works on promoting really healthy digestion and getting rid of any like old foodstuffs that hanging around. It's not super like, you're not going to feel like massive, I don't know, changes from it. You're not going to poop a whole lot. It's not going to be like unexpected craziness from this cleanse. Gentle. It's lovely. It will, at the same time, pull out toxins. You might poop a little extra. I do, but it's not like weird. So that's how you know if it's working. If you tend toward constipation, or if you tend toward loose poops and all of a sudden you're pooping more and it's becoming more solid. Yes, we're talking about poop. Of course we have to. Great. That is great. But that's some things to expect. You might poop a little bit more, and that's great as it pulls out all the old food stuff that we don't need. And as those spices work on boosting our digestive fire and helping us digest the food better. So as I said, this is a whole food, but it's also really easy to digest, which is great because a lot of times we eat too many things that are hard to digest. And you do that over time, and that's how we end up feeling low quality in the mind, whether we're scattered or we're nervous or we're overwhelmed or we're stressed or panicked, or any of those kind of negative, judgy, fatty, any of those negative emotions can have to do with a backup of old food stuff or wrong eating or wrong quality of eating, right? So when we are eating foods that are far away from nature, like let's say we don't have a lot of time, we grab fast food, grab something here and there, we have food with extra salts and sugars, we have processed food, canned food, all those things just to make things easy for us while we're on the go. it can also affect our mind, because all of those foods are not plucked close from nature. Okay, so we're going to be putting all of that good stuff into our bodies so that we can feel completely whole with our whole food. So 3 meals a day, every single day. Drink nice water, have herbal teas, and you can have some fruit in between if you need a snack or if you are very hungry. If you are very hungry, you can also, like I said, have another bowl of kitchari. So, excited? I am. Should we start making some kitchari? Let's go. This is my house, by the way. Part of my house, anyways. Part of my little kitchen. So we're going to do this like right here. Yahoo! Okay, and I got the recipe. You have the recipe in your hand if you have the printouts and you've printed those out. But I also have my book right here, the In Your Elements, and I've bookmarked my little kitchari recipe in here, and this is what we are going to be using. So come on over. Come with me. Come with me. First, we are going to start out with our mung dal. We need 1/2 cup of mung dal. This is what it looks like. I showed you on the other little video, just tiny little lentils. And I'm going to throw it in here. Okay. And then I got basmati rice, 1 cup, and I'm going to put that in there too. And now, if you don't do this, I want to show you how I wash it, because I kind of wash it like a little bit like a crazy person. I make sure this stuff is washed, man. Like, get in there. It's all running, like, the water that's coming out is not clear. Here, wait. And it smells a little dusty. This stuff needs to be washed. And if you don't wash your rice like this normally, I highly recommend you do so, because it smells like a rice sack, dust, old shoe. Just kidding. But it does smell really dusty. So make sure that you wash this really good until the water runs completely clear. All right, that looks pretty good. The water is totally clear that's running out, and I don't smell any more dust rice sacks. I'm just going to set that right here for now. So the next thing that the recipe calls for is 3 tablespoons of ghee, which we will use when we use the pan. But first, I want to talk to you about the ginger. So we're going to go use 1-inch piece of ginger. You all have seen ginger before, right? Looks like that when it's got the skin on. This is about the size of the chunk that you want. It's like a 1-inch chunk. I might have had a little bit more. You know, they're kind of curly cuey. They got all kinds of cool little shapes to them. So pick your little piece of happy ginger. Now you can definitely peel it. So you can use a knife just to get the peeling off, or you can use, a potato peeler. And then I got one of these, which is a ginger grater. So if you want to go the ginger grater route, you can do this. Pretend it's peeled. You can do this, and then you get all your little ginger gratings, and it'll all start to go around here. For this, I chose to just chop it. So I took a nice little piece like this. Yeah. And then I just chopped it up like this. And again, it's not super fussy. Remember, kitchari is not fussy. This is a family meal that Indians use all the time, like in their everyday cooking. So it's not super fussy. Look how low the camera is. Okay, and then we're going to add our seeds. So our little combination of seeds is ajwan. They look like this, little dark seeds. And we're gonna do fennel. You know what fennel looks like. Oh yeah. Here's a tip. If you're ever in a situation where you have bloating and gassing, just take these little fennel seeds, throw them in a pot, and boil them for like a teapot or like a little saucepan. You can boil them for like 10 or 15 minutes and have some fennel tea. It'll make your tummy feel better. It'll make the gases and bloaties go away. Okay, so that's fennel. And we've got our cumin here, which also kind of looks like fennel, but it's a little more brown. Here's the two together. Okay, and you need a teaspoon of each of those. So I pre-measured and I put them all together in this happy little mix of a bowl. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use my mortar and pestle. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, just put these like in a baggie and use the back of a spoon. If you don't put them in a baggie, if you don't put them in some kind of little container-y thing, they're gonna roll all over the place and you're gonna have little seeds all over your kitchen. All right, so put these in here. And then we just wanna break them up. So we're gonna break them up to get the flavors out. Let me see if I can get you closer. Well, anyway, here we go. There and there, and I'm just gonna break them. Ooh, it's starting to smell really nice now. Very, very fragrant, and that's exactly what you want. You want to break these little seeds up. They do not need to be mashed to a powder. They just need to be kind of broken. You know, like when you're, I don't know, who's ever had a cocktail? If you ever have a cocktail and you go and they make you some kind of specialty, something with mint in it, and they go and they break that mint so that the oils come through. We're doing the same thing here. Now keep in mind how whole these things are. How whole these things are is going to also be in your kitchari. So if you have an aversion to like larger spices, then you're going to want to mash this down a little bit more so that the pieces are smaller. But if you like whole spices and you don't mind it, then you can just leave it as you like it. Okay, that's pretty good. So now we are going to, I'm just going to set that aside for a second because we're going to put all of this stuff into a saucepan on the stove. But first I'm going to go through the rest of the ingredients. So we also need 3 cinnamon sticks. So I got my cinnamon sticks here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we have ½ teaspoon of turmeric. So, as you know what turmeric looks like. Yes, yellow, yellow. It stains everything yellow. So when you're using turmeric, be sure that you're not wiping your hands on your favorite white towels, because it'll stay that way. However, if you are sick of your white towels and you want yellow towels, soak them in turmeric. Okay, I don't really know if that works, by the way. I'm just, okay. Little ½ teaspoon of turmeric, and I'm gonna put that over here with my other ones, and our friend hing. Notice I did not open the hing and let it sit around in a little cup for a while, because hing is extremely potent. It is a very pungent spice. Ginger is a pungent spice. Here's our ginger friend here. The pungent taste in Ayurveda is what makes, I'm just going to tilt it up. There we go. The pungent spice in Ayurveda is what makes the fire grow and boost, okay? Digestive fire. And in Ayurveda, 90% of why we feel cruddy is from old food stuff that hasn't been digested, from maldigestion. Digestion can be too hot, it can be too slow, it can be too low of a fire. So all of these things put together will start to help stoke and regulate our fire. We are supposed to feel hungry. I don't know about you, but just over holiday, for about 3 weeks, I swear I was like never hungry. Like I was just like, whatever, eating stuff, like there was constantly food around, but I never really felt hungry. I did a dry run of this a couple days ago, and I had this nice hunger burn in my stomach. And that is what tells us I'm ready for more food. I'm done digesting. I'm ready for more food. That's our agni saying, hey, hey. And we want to feel that hunger, because when there is hunger there, agni is complete with the last meal and it is ready for more. If we don't feel hungry, 2 things. Agni is so low, it's not calling for food, right? So we need to boost it. Or agni's buried underneath a lot of food and it's got too big of a job to do and it's not done yet. So it's not telling you it's hungry, because it's like, hold up. And this is why we need to pay attention to our own hunger for ourselves. It's not necessarily looking at the time and saying, hey, it's time to eat, or everybody else is eating, or everybody else is having a big dinner. It's up to us to listen to our own bodies and how we feel, and note when agni is not talking to us, when agni is not hungry, then we need to kick up the fire. So this will kick up the fire. And yes, no, I'm not delaying opening the hing and putting it in a little cup. Let's tell you a story. Okay, we're gonna open this hing now. Don't be afraid. I'm not afraid. Woo. Woo-wee. Okay, we're gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of hing. It looks kind of hard. You know what? Like when you get used to the smell, it's kind of oniony. It's like really pungent oniony. There it is. There's the hing. And I'm just gonna put it in this little bowl here. And then cover it. Okay, cool. Now we are ready to take things over to the stove. So I'm going to switch cameras quick and I'm going to go over there. All right, here we are. You're not gonna be able to see my face because I can't quite get in there. But what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna take our mung dal and rice that we washed nicely and I'm just gonna put it in this pot back here. That pot in the back has 3 cups of water in it. Note, if you prefer kitchari that is more soupy or rice that is more soupy, you can add more water to it. So you could do 3.5 cups or 4 cups if you want it very soupy. Ayurveda says, obviously, that we are all unique individuals. So our kitchari should be too. If we are a kapha person, we're probably gonna need our kitchari to be a little bit more dry. If we are a vata person, we might want our kitchari a little bit more moist. And pitta's right in the middle. So right now I'm gonna take my 3 tablespoons of ghee. Here's my ghee. And we're gonna get 3 nice tablespoons of ghee. 1. Dunk. 2. Like an ice cream scooper. Dunk. 3. Now, you are going to use ghee in here, but you're also going to put it on the dish itself. When the dish is all done, you can melt some nice ghee on there, definitely. Yes, do it. Kaphas, you'll have less ghee. Vatas, you'll have a moderate amount of ghee. And pittas, ghee is your #1 food, so ghee it up. Ghee is, for those of you that don't know, it increases our digestive fire, but it's also a cooling oil. It's the only oil that cools. So it's got special qualities that allow it to be, boost the fire while cooling the body. It seeps into all the tissues on the deepest levels to nourish us. So have the ghee. Kaphas, you're gonna want less ghee because you have nice healthy oils in your body already, but you can still have some. Also, when it's done, you can add some black salts if you have that, or you can just use Himalayan salt. I have this one from Trader Joe's, and you can also add a little bit of black pepper. Black pepper is another pungent spice that you can add. So now that my ghee is all melted, I'm going to put in all my crushed spices. It's gonna fry up real nice. And we are going to put in the hing, and we're going to put in the turmeric. Happy. Cinnamon sticks. Oh, you guys, this is already smelling awesome. It smells so good. So you can ghee has a very high smoke point, so it doesn't burn like butter does. Speaking of burns, if you get a little minor burn from like your curling iron, you can put a little ghee on it and it takes the pain right away, takes the skin, the sting right out. Does not take the skin out. That would be not beneficial. It takes the sting out and it helps it cool. So you're gonna let this hang out for a few minutes while it toasts. Meantime, this stuff is happening back here. This is starting to get hot now and it'll boil. So we're gonna wait for that to boil. We're going to continue to stir this up a little bit. Just let it get nice and roasted. You're gonna smell, it's gonna smell fantastic. Oh yeah. Hello, little poppy. All right, good. Since it's cooked a little bit, you can add your ginger. Okay, and then I'm turning it down to like medium-ish. Maybe that's a little bit hot. This medium is good. You don't want to kill it with the fire. Okay, and that's pretty good. So I'm just going to turn off the heat. I'm going to hang out until that pot over there is ready for, it's boiling and it's ready for a lid. I don't add this right away into the kitchari. I used to throw it right in with the water, but then what I found is it just lost its potency. It lost its heat a little bit. So I like to wait until that's boiling, and then I put the lid on and I wait until it's about halfway done, and then I'll add my spices and the vegetables. Oh, one more thing I can show you. The vegetables that I've chosen are green beans, and I use these pretty little carrots. Have you seen these carrots? They're pretty. They're like got all these colors. I like colors. Anything that I can put design into, I will. So anyways, I got colored carrots and green beans, about a cup a piece. You can choose any vegetables that you like. You can use cauliflower, zucchini, asparagus, green beans, carrots, peas, anything like that is great. I would advise stay away from red peppers and tomatoes. Those have a slightly different quality than these other ones, but anything that you like. And you can also just have one type of vegetable if you want, or if you're like, geez, I don't have any vegetables around, you can skip your vegetables and just have kitchari without any vegetables. That's fine too, but I like veggies, so I'll put them in there. Look, our friend in the back is boiling. Hooray! We will put on a lid and hang out while that cooks. Okay, so now the lid is on in the back, and I've turned the stove down to low because that's probably going to take about a half an hour. You know, it takes about a half an hour for rice to cook. I will also show you how to do this in the rice cooker. Rice cooker is super easy. You basically do all this stuff and throw everything in the rice cooker, and you're done. Okay. All right, I moved this up to the front burner so you can see a little bit of it. Let's take a look at our kitchari and see how it's cooking so far, or our rice and mung dal. Pretty good. Look, you can't see water in there anymore, so that tells me it's good time to start add in our vegetables and our spices. But we're going to do it quick because we don't want it to all steam out. So we're going to put all this good stuff. Oh, I went ahead and I mixed in my vegetables there for a second. So all the vegetables, all the spices, everything into the pot, just like this. And then I'm going to give it a quick stir just so it's integrated. Make sure to get all the way down to the bottom of the pot because we want all the spices all in there really good. With a rice cooker, you do not have to do this step. You just throw everything into the pot and it's already nicely integrated. I'm a huge fan of the rice cooker. If you have one, makes this so much easier. Okay, dink. And on we go for another 15 minutes or so. And it's going to cook and steam up again. And then we will have our finished batch of kitchari. All right, here we are. We've got our kitchari all completed. It's all done. Look at that. So nice. So again, if you added more water, it's going to be a little more softy. If you have it a little more dry, you're going to see more of the rice pieces. The rice cooker dish also looks a little bit different than the one on the stove. The one on the stove tends to be more soft in general, and the rice cooker dish will have more like whole pieces of rice, but then there's this nice like crust that gets around the inside of the cooker, which is inside the rice dish, which is so good. Okay, so now we have to dress it up. Okay, so let me tilt you down here so you can be with me again here. All right, so now we're going to dress it up. We're going to add some ghee. Some ghee depends on the person. I'm going to put about this much. I am Vata Pitta. I'm going to melt that on there. And I'm going to add some black salt. Black salt is really fine. And it is also, you don't need a whole lot to get saltiness. So I'm just gonna, I have a little tiny hole in this bag, so I'm just doing that. It smells a little sulfury, so don't worry about it. It stinks a little bit, but it's really quite a nice little salt. Or you can use, like I said, your Himalayan salt too. That also works. For those of you that, look, we don't usually eat days of like soft, mushy foods. So if you're on this cleansing, like, geez, I just really need something crunchy, you can add, I sliced up some fennel. This is like fennel bulb right here. It's kind of Trader Joe's, like that. I slice up some fennel, and I like to put it on the top. You can also slice up cilantro if you want some cilantro on the top. Or you could use some cucumber. This is especially good for pitta types that need something a little cooling. Lots of types might want something a little bit crunchy, but it's good for everybody. So here is our lovely dish. Yes, I did just take a piece of fennel because I love it, and it is going to be awesome. So 3 days of this. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is Kitchari. Remember when in the beginning of this, when we talked about the types of food that we normally eat with like salts and sugars and, you know, extra things that we might not know is hanging out in the food. If we're not used to eating very clean, very natural foods, Kitchari to us might taste a little bit bland. Stick with it. The reason is because our taste buds actually get jacked up by foods that have too much salt and too much sugar. And so we crave more, which is one of the causes of overeating, because our ego is just like, I want more of that. I want more of that. I want more. Like potato chips. Like you can't just eat a couple potato chips. They taste so good and so salty. And before you know it, half the bag is gone. You get my drift. So what Kitchari does, it actually resets the taste buds. So it's not going to be this powerful explosion of like, you know, flavor. You will taste different flavors, but it's not going to be this smack you in the face kind of food. It is meant to be mild. It is meant to be resetting our taste buds to the way they should be. So when the cleanse is done, food's going to taste amazing. You're going to taste all the flavors. You're going to taste all the different levels of spices and coolness and heat and fantasticness that food has to offer. So you'll taste all the tastes. And when our taste buds have the too much sugars and the too much salts, we might not even notice the tastes and things. So that's something to observe as you're going through this. When you're done, food's going to taste even better, so much so that soda or soft drink or something very sugary or very salty is going to taste intensely so, perhaps unenjoyable. So just be mindful of that, because we're resetting our taste buds. So somebody asked me already about the size, like how much Kitchari can you eat? Look, I have a whole full bowl here. And if I was still hungry, I would have more. There really is no limit to how much you can eat. I say the more of the stuff you can get into your body, the better, but also like pay attention to your own hunger. We don't want to feel like we're overeating on Kitchari, but we want to have enough so that we're full and that we feel sustained. Yeah. So that is Kitchari making. And I hope you learned some things. Now it's your turn. Go turn on some music, get in a really good mood. You're going to make some awesome food for your mind and body for the next 3 days. Also, you can make a fresh batch of this every morning. Ayurveda in general says no leftovers. We want foods as close from nature as possible, as freshly prepared as possible within the time frame that we're going to eat it. You know, I break that rule because we live in a totally different world than when Ayurveda started. So that's my dog, Rio. So if you make a batch, you can eat it all day long. If you happen to have some left over, you can have some for breakfast the next day, but then maybe make a new batch while you're eating the Kitchari from the next day. That's not gonna be easy to do because Kitchari smells so good. You're gonna wanna eat it right away. Like, I wanna eat this right away. But just know that, okay? So you probably make a batch every single day. You'll eat it fresh. You'll eat it throughout the day. If you need more, you can make more. Hit me with your questions. Let me know how you're doing so far. Thrilled to have you with me. Thrilled to be with you and be your teacher. So, woohoo! Kitchari Cleanse is on. Mwah.